Today, I'm going to tell you a story about me. Now, we're going to go back to 2017 because that's where the story takes place. I was about to leave high school, not high school, middle school, and go into high school. And back then, I guess you could say
I have crippling depression.
And I was also being severely bullied at school. My life was falling apart. Everything was going bad until I discovered this thing. It's called Initial D. Anyways, let's get into the video.
Initial D. It's a simple anime about an 18-year-old delivery driver called Takumi Fujiwara who works for his dad at his tofu shop, and he has to deliver tofu up a mountain at 4 AM every day in his old Toyota Corolla hatchback. He then gets caught up in the world of, street racing because he's kind of forced into it. He then proceeds to beat literally every single racer there, and then eventually, after beating every single racer in the series, in Season 2, he gets his first proper loss via a broken engine. His dad, being the absolute legend he is, just randomly pulls out of his arse a fucking Group A engine, which has most of its power stored at the higher revs, which soon they realise they need a new tachometer for it, which is the bit where you can see your RPMs. After, all that stuff, learn, new things about the car, how it works through Wataru, if that's probably not how you say his name, but still, he helps him out to, learn more about the car, try and find his driving style a little bit more better, and then proceed to go back and beat everyone again. Now, the story of Initial D is a very simple underdog story, but it's done so well. I'm not sure about MF Ghost yet, because I haven't read it, but that's going to be the new series that's canonically after Initial D. So I really hope that does live up to the expectations of Initial D. MF Ghost, well, whatever. Now, at the time when I was watching Initial D back in 2017, you could watch it on YouTube, but obviously now you can't because some, crazy copyright people are like, no, you can't use this stuff or we'll smite you off of YouTube, mate. Which, that's a little bit annoying, but still, we'll get over it by putting some Dirt Rally footage here, as you can see in the background, along with some Noriaru videos, if he, maybe, yeah. But anyways, back to the topic. When I was watching Initial D back in 2017, I was a pretty big car nerd. And this anime made me fall in love with more cars. For example, obviously the Toyota A86 Corolla, the main car. And also the other cars from initially, like the RX-7 FC, the FD, the R32 GTR, Civic EG6, Subaru WRX, Evo 2, and many, many more cars. The cars from this anime were so good. They even had some Supras and R34s here and there, but the cars from the first two series are probably some of the best cars in the series. Later on, they do bring out stuff like the Honda NSX and the 350Z and some other cars. But otherwise, I think probably the first season's cars are some of the best ones. This anime also made me, spend the next 8 months of my life listening to Eurobeat and exclusively playing Dirt Rally because that was the only car game I had because I wanted to become a better racing driver. Yeah, it made me go a little bit car crazy then more, and also pretty much watched exclusively Noriaru vids as well. In the anime, I also love the attention to detail, how they talk about tuning the cars, effects on the tires, driving techniques, and admittedly some stuff is a little bit inaccurate, like how some cars can jump over other bits here and there in Season 3. That race is a little bit crazy if you know what I'm talking about. And but otherwise, most of it is pretty accurate, like putting carbon fiber hoods on the A86 will make it lighter. Having the headlights flip down will actually make it more aerodynamic. And obviously, later on, you see they actually put body kits on some of their cars to make the cars more aerodynamic and faster. Attention to detail. Like, for example, in the first episode, they're using an RX-7, and you can see it's actually producing backfire from its exhaust. And also, if you pause right then, you can actually see some of the backfire. I'll probably put a picture up here if I can, but I doubt I could. Watching Initial D on YouTube also led me to watching other channels like Noriaru, brought from Japan, and Giguk, who are still some of my favourite YouTubers today. But back then, they really expanded my knowledge on cars, Japan, and anime. And especially Noriaru, he was one of my favourite video creators back then. He still is now a really good one, but I think back then I was just in love with the videos that he did with his Beans 86 and the ones where he went to drifting. Also, watching Giguk's videos about anime sort of just broadened me to start watching more anime, like One Punch Man. I was watched shortly after watching Initial D, and just discovering anime mostly thanks to Giguk. and also watching Abroad in Japan back in the day. That was he was quite funny, and yeah, I still watch him now, and he's probably one of my favorite YouTubers. This anime also made me regain my obsession with drifting and ignited an obsession with Japan. Eventually, this anime sort of did just become my life. I wanted a Toyota 86 Corolla, fucking t-shirt, Initial D t-shirt, Initial D backpack, Initial D patches. I wanted everything to do with Initial D in my life. I looked for the 886 Hot Wheels car, which I did find one eventually, like 5 years later, but still. And I also exclusively listen to Eurobeat, which if you want to have some Eurobeat, there is some in the description below. Into a playlist, and also just Eurobeat's just fucking amazing. Like, you can probably hear a little bit of it in the background. I'll just listen to it now. Also, kind of without Initial D, I wouldn't actually be watching anime, and I wouldn't be doing anime YouTubing or anything. I'll probably just be doing like live streams of Dirt Rally. But yeah, this anime really was just my escape from a really crappy circumstances I find myself in. Really, just like, it made me happy watching the anime, because it was, and also it was a gateway to other anime as well. But I could spend like 5 hours watching Initial D episodes, AMVs, or just videos about Initial D in general, and find myself having a fun time instead of just, you know, living my very shitty high school life. And I gotta say, some people may think, you know, Initial D is just another anime about like street racing, like Wagon Midnight, Red Line, and whatever racing anime there are. But to me, it was something a little bit different. It was like kind of like how Top Gear was to quite a lot of people. It was just there. It was brilliant. I personally rate this anime 10 out of 10. Would watch again. So please do like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you and goodbye.